What's up, guys? This is Bunny Muffins. I'm here with a 10.4 patch review. If this is your first time here, and you often get frustrated when playing TFT, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to save yourselves a couple of hairs on your hairline. Alright, I'm on bunnymuffins.lol, and I'm going to click on Meta Snapshot. So I update this guide every Friday, and this patch is pretty similar to the last patch. The only major change is that people are playing 6 Shadow now instead of 3 Inferno, 3 Shadows when they play Kindred. Also, Azir got nerfed a bunch, so we'll see how that affected everything. For item priority, I like Rod the most, just by a tiny bit, but you pretty much are fine with any of these except for Health and Negatron. I have the updated item quadrant here. Rageblade's a little stronger than I thought it was. Same for Handed Justice, same for Bramble Vest, and then I moved down Rapid Fire Cannon because it's really only good for Olaf and Kindred. It's okay on Azir, but it's really like a secondary item for him. And I also moved down the priority of Locket and Morellonomicon because I found that these items were a little lackluster when compared to the other options. Going on into the team compositions, the methodology I use is I scout all the top 10 players from every region, analyze what they play, and I let you guys know what the best compositions are based off of that. By far the best one is this Kindred composition, which involves 6 Shadow, as I was discussing before. You really play Kindred like how you would normally do in the other patches by playing like 3 Inferno, 3 Shadow two Shadow. So what I like to do is have two damage items on Kindred, whether they're attack damage or ability power, and then I like stacking 3 defensive items on Scion. You could use a lot of different things. I think the best item is Bramble Vest, but I only listed one item here because you could put so many items in that slot there. And then once you find Master Yi, QSS or Rapid Fire Cannon is probably the best items on him, but you really only want to stack him once he's 2-star. So the next comp we have is Predators with or without Hyper Roll. Since everything else got a lot weaker, Predators got stronger. It's sure that Poison got nerfed a little bit, and Predators do utilize Poison a lot, but there's so many different options they could use, and they honestly kill a lot of things before Poison really wears off, even with the nerf. So they're still a very strong comp, and since most of the other comps got nerfed, they rose in priority a little bit. For the 3 Predators, you'll definitely want Kog'Maw. Get as many Ludens on him as possible. He could also use items like Static Shiv, or even like a QSS or other defensive items. And then you want either Rek'Sai, Warwick, or Skarner. Doesn't really matter which ones you choose, just whichever ones you're hitting the easiest. After that, you'll want to pair them with synergy. So if you have Rek'Sai, you want Nocturne for Steel synergy. If you have Warwick, you can consider adding in Braum. And if you have Skarner, you could consider adding Ashe or Taric. Next up, we have the A tier. These comps are a little weaker than the S tiers, but they're still pretty strong in most cases. So the first one we have is Summoner Assassins. They used to be S tier, but now they dropped down because of the Azir nerfs. And you can read this right up here on my site, bunnymuffins.lol/meta. And you have the base composition here. It's really just Azir and Kha'Zix, and then you try to hope to hit Zed. And Azir with anything, pretty much. He's still really strong. Sure, the nerfs hit him a lot, but he still can snipe a lot of carries, and the most important item on him is Rageblade. Then you want some sort of defensive item, and then another damage item. Kha'Zix, he really only uses IE, and then, well, Kha'Zix just isn't that good in general, so you don't really want to stack him with that much. You kind of just put your leftover items on him, and then you want to stack Zed if you do get him. The best items on Zed are Guardian Angel and Redemption. Next up, we have Ranger Warden. This composition got hit probably the hardest because the Poison and Crystal nerfs got to them pretty good. But you could still get first place with this composition because Taric 2 is probably one of the strongest champions in the game, same with Singe 2, and they run both of them. So what you want to do when you play this comp is get a bunch of Static Shivs early, get some crit items on Twitch, hit all your legendaries, and call it a day. It's really like a feast or famine comp. You either get first or you get last. Next, we have B tier, which are playable compositions, but you don't really want to go for them all the time. And first up, we have Berserkers. So Berserkers, they got a lot of buffs this patch. First, Glacial got buffed, and then Olaf got buffed. So there's a lot of good things going for them right now. If you do have the Berserker Spatula item, that's a great item to use on this composition because then you don't have to hit level 9 to run both Poison and Desert. both of which are really important when you're playing this. Alternatively, if you're level 8 and you don't have the Berserker spatula, you could choose not to run Desert and instead on Olaf run a Last Whisper so that you still get the armor reduction, because your team pretty much only does attack damage. Apart from that, this composition works really well if you get like an early Locket or maybe like a Zeke's Herald to try to just buff up your entire team. But this composition got a lot of buffs, so you might see it actually place higher in A tier. I played it a couple times. I placed pretty well despite not hitting Olaf 2, and just based off of that, I'm thinking this composition might be even stronger as the patch goes on, but we'll look out and see later. Also here I have some recommended items for Olaf, in case you're wondering what to build on him, because he could really use a lot of different things. Next up we have Ocean Mages with Wardens. This composition just feels a lot weaker than everything else. Even if you hit Brand 2 really early, I often see players getting top 6 or even lower, despite hitting all their units with perfect items. So it's really questionable if you want to go for some sort of Ocean Mage comp. And also just keep in mind that this composition is pretty variable, so what you see here, it could be completely different than what you can play in game. So it is a pretty difficult composition as well. So based off of the fact that it's not too strong right now and it's difficult, I wouldn't really recommend going Ocean Mages for you guys. Next up we have Blade Master and Mystic. This composition got nerfed a lot because Azir was a primary carry and he got hit a lot. Despite popular belief, Yasuo is not that great of a carry. He's only really used for getting top 4, and after that it's really hard to get any higher unless you're in lower elo. So if you're below master tier, you could keep playing Yasuo a bunch because people don't really know how to play around Yasuo. But once you get above that, or once people start learning the counters from other players, Yasuo is going to be getting a lot worse. And also just because Azir is nerfed, like this comp got much weaker. I really only recommend going for Azir Blade Masters if you get the Blade Master spatula. After that, you just complement with 4 Mystics and then you try to do your best from there. The last composition we have is Lights. Lights are actually pretty decent. It's just really weird to play because you need Yorick 2-star, and if you don't get it, the results are very inconsistent, I would say. Yeah, the only important thing when you play this comp is getting 1 Guardian Angel and then Yorick 2-star. The rest of the items don't matter that much. You could use Vayne carry, you could use Lucian carry. You don't have to have hats on Yorick, I just put them there in this case, but you could run literally any item on Yorick, and then just make sure that he has 3 of them because he is your primary carry. But yeah, it's a pretty decent comp, but only really go for it if you have a good start for it. That would include having 2-star Nasus, 2-star Vayne with maybe like a Rage Blade and 1 part of a Guardian Angel component such as Chain Vest or Sword. And then you also need a lot of health in order to properly build up your economy to find Yorick 2. That's pretty much it for this patch. Everything else is C tier and below. I kind of just keep these comps here kind of as an archive, or just in case you were curious as to what was previously played or what could potentially come back into the meta in different patches depending on what they buff or nerf. But yeah, play a lot of Six Shadow, get some Predators in there, and let's see how this patch shapes up. I expect a couple of changes because I do really think Berserkers might become a lot better as the patch goes on, but we'll see about that. Again, thanks so much for watching. I'll be streaming today and this whole weekend every day at twitch.tv/BunnyMuffinsLOL. I'll be starting at 3 p.m. US Eastern Time, so I really do hope to see you guys there. And in case you guys want to follow me on even more social media channels, feel free to check out my Twitter at twitter.com/BunnyMuffinsLOL and Instagram at SometimesFortunate. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.